Well, welcome everyone to our call. It's definitely exciting to have you. We do these campaign calls not just for you, but we actually like the questions and the feedback. And we're in a participatory process here. The NHPPA is a little bit of a unique thing in that, when we started it back in 2008, the thinking at first was we'll be kind of like an industry watchdog and, primarily be geared towards the industry. And it turns out we have been the watchdog. It's been our predictions and analysis that have proved to be surprisingly accurate, but we resonated with the average citizen. So we're a citizen group, and the strength of that is when we need to create political pressure as a group, as a team, all of us, we can in a way that no other organization has managed to do so. And we have slowed down this bus and really absolutely changed the landscape. I can assure you, having been involved in this process for so long, that without the NHPPA, we would be in a much different situation than we're in now, as awful as it is now. So so welcome, and it's only because of you that this works. And obviously we rely on your financial support, your donations. We're strictly a donation organization. We don't charge anyone any fees to access any of our information or to participate. So please donate. And even better, if you commit to doing that monthly, we can set that up. It helps us to budget and plan, and it's very important. So we'll switch first. We got some, exciting things to mention. And for those of you who received or opened our email that went out earlier today, you'll see that we've launched a new campaign, the Mission 338 campaign. We'll go into that in details in just a minute, but I think I'll call on Dana first. If Dana, if you want to introduce us to kind of, or bring us up to speed on, what's happened in March. And I'm sorry, I should first of all introduce, so we've got Dana and Jason again, both with the NHPPA, who are joining me today. And welcome, Dana and Jason.
Thank you, Shawn. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. Jason, I'll ask you to quickly pull up the numbers we have prepared for our March results, and I can quickly go through some of that. We have a lot of exciting stuff to cover today. So first up, we have been continuing with the postcard campaign. We are at 2.4 million postcards shipped to health food stores and clinics across Canada. With respect to Bill C-368, a total of 758,000 electronic letters were sent, and we do have some updates on this coming from Shawn shortly. With respect to our Health Canada bureaucrat campaign opposing the self-care framework, a total of over 14,000 letters have been sent. Charter of Health Freedom, we are moving forward with that now. We'll be sharing some more details about the current campaign we launched. You probably saw a bit of that in the email earlier, but we are really trying to collect some more Charter of Health Freedom signatures now, and we're at a total of 144,000 at the moment, a little bit over that, as you can see. And then a recent campaign we had launched was our My Health campaign, where we were trying to collect personal health testimonials from everybody. And we collected about 200 testimonials, which was very exciting. So with that, I think we're going to ask Shawn to provide a bit of an update on Bill C-368.
Thanks, Dana. And before I go into that, so, the My Health campaign, we're actually asking people to share their personal health stories. So, we weren't expecting to be there 10,000 of them, but some of them are absolutely powerful. And you give us permission to share your stories. And some of those include video stories also. And so I'd like to thank you for that. One of the things that, Health Canada and the MPs miss in all of this is we actually need these products, and they have a tremendous impact for us. And that's why we're all on this call. So actually being able to communicate that, and that's what that campaign was about. So that campaign's still running. If you're aware, you yourself, if you're willing to share your story, or if you're aware of somebody else that has a compelling story, like have them share it. And there is a way for you to do video. If, that's troubling you, you don't want to just keep redoing it. Hey, we'll do a video shoot with you. We'll log into Zoom and let you tell your story and figure it out. Like, we're willing to help you. And that helps us, because if we can share your story, we can make this, really come alive to other people, because there's actually nothing quite like personal stories to drive home how important this is. So let's turn to Bill 368 that we invested so much time and so much energy. When Dana had those numbers up, and we're basically 750,000 communications, letters sent on a single private member's bill, that does not include written letters. It does not include fax letters. It doesn't include emails you sent yourself that didn't go through our system. So who knows what the actual figure is? But I can promise you that for this Parliament, but for all those pesky postcards and other communications we've had you send, there's not a sitting MP that has had so many communications on any issue by far than on this. Like, they all know and they're all watching. And so this is important when we start talking more about the Mission 338 campaign. But you sent a strong message. Now, unfortunately, and I'll say unfortunately, but it's also fortunately, because some very scary bills that didn't get through. But when Parliament ends, when an election's called, that ends the Parliament. Any bill that hasn't completely gotten through the House of Commons and the Senate, it just dies. It's done. It's finished. So Bill 368 is finished. And I can tell you, we've also written a bill concerning cost recovery if we need to do that with a private member's bill. But that's where we are with 368. We expended all that energy, and an election's called, and here we are. It, like other bills, have died. But our efforts aren't wasted. So the NHPPA is completely apolitical, and you've all heard me say I'm very concerned that the Department of Health, Health Canada, is so strong that it does appear that it doesn't matter who's in office, that, at the end of the day, that agenda's pushed. So what we're doing is absolutely necessary, and what's coming up is absolutely necessary. So we're gonna go into the 338 campaign. I'm gonna have Dana in a moment just kind of like walk you through our page. But understand what we want to do with this campaign is something we haven't ever done in an election before, and that's make access to natural health products an election issue. And we haven't done this in the past, really, because the amount of organization is mind-boggling. As Jason and Dana, really, they should have big rings under their eyes because they haven't been getting sleep. The whole team has just been working around the clock because there's somebody really unreasonable in the organization that says, no, I wanted this done by a certain date. So, but we want you to be able to communicate with every single candidate, and just the amount of data entry and searching and technical stuff, it's absolutely incredible. But we need to make this an election issue. We need every single candidate, every single party. We need to get the media, everyone understanding that this is an issue. And we've been using volunteers, so we've done a couple of calls for volunteers. And if we haven't plugged you in yet and you're on the list, we have every intention of plugging you in, literally within the next couple of days. It's just we've had to kind of organize this other task first of getting ready to launch. But we've got huge promotional issues. So we're gonna, we've basically launched. We're still not completely up to speed there, but we're going to tweak it in the next couple of days, and it's just going to be an amazing tool and structure that we have in place for people to create pressure. But now we need to plug the rest of the country in. We need to promote this. And so we're going to be asking volunteers to help us identify, media editors and the like that we can be sending press releases to, identify podcasters and influencers and other groups. If any of you have any personal contact with any other groups, chambers of commerce or whatever, that, would send out our ask on their list, get a hold of us quickly. The rest of you, we need to plug in. If any of you are, French speaking and can start interacting on social media and in Quebec, we could have a whole team there. So we've just got tons to do. and need you to participate, but really excited about this. And at the end of this, we're going to have all this infrastructure and be able to just do more going forward. But right now, we need to make this election issue. So, Dana, I'll ask if you and Jason want to pull up the web page and kind of walk them through.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll do a nice tutorial of the webpage so everybody knows what they're looking at and can easily take action. We'll just get Jason to pull it up whenever he has a second. As Shawn said, it's been really a great time trying to pull all of this together in the short time span we were given to do it, but we pulled through, so that was very, very exciting for all of us. So this is the web page. You can also access this directly from the homepage. The first banner you see on our homepage advertises this campaign, and you'll be able to click and immediately come to this page. So as you can see, we've called it Mission 338, Speak Up for Natural Health. The reason for this, as you can see at the top here, is there are over 1,000 candidates this election, resulting in 338 MPs. And we're trying to target all of them because they must be a voice for the 34 million Canadians, or 82% of us, who depend on natural health products to maintain our well-being. And we really want this to be an election issue because our elected representatives are supposed to be working for us. And if they want our support, they need to be listening to what we want. So when you scroll down a little bit, we have laid out all of the steps very easily for you. So to start, you can easily insert your postal code and it will spit out the information that you need. There you go. So you have all of the candidate information you need for who you're supposed to be contacting. And then when you scroll further down, it will explain what you should be doing. So first up, we are starting out with the theme of health is our greatest asset. Since we're really trying to continue with these communications all the way from now until April 28th, we want to continuously be coming out with fresh content for everybody to continue sending to their MPs or sharing on social media. So we decided to divide it up into some different themes or impacts, essentially how these new regulations are going to affect the natural health industry and Canadians. So the first theme, health is our greatest asset. The first task is to send letters to candidates. So you can send a physical letter or a fax. There's a button there for you to download either the PDF version or the Google or the document. The reason it scrolls you down to the bottom here is so that you can select which version you want. You can see PDF download or you can see Word document and you can choose. So if we go back up to where we were a little bit higher to task 1, this is task 3. We have a lot of work for you guys to do, as you can see, because we're really trying to make some noise here. So B, you can send an email or make a call. We have the copy prepared for you. You can just copy and paste this and send an email. Or we have a link to talking points. So if you wanted to phone your candidate, we have prepared for you a document with all of the talking points that you would need to feel confident and effectively communicate to them. So that is task 1. Now, if we go to task 2, this is where I get very excited because, as some of you may know, I work a lot with social media. So task 2 is for everybody to post on social media, and we're trying to make it really easy for you by creating already prepared posts. So these 3 posts you see here are posts that we've already shared on NHPPA social media, and you can easily repost them. We have 3 options at the bottom: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you are logged in to your own social media account and you click any of those buttons, it will immediately take you to our post so that you can like, comment, and repost it. And that's very helpful for spreading the word. Also, okay, here's just a quick example. Perfect. It brings you right there and you can easily interact with it or repost it. Very, very helpful for spreading the word. Also, if you want to go a step further and not just repost it, we've given you the option to actually download the image and copy and paste some text that you can then go and share on your own platforms. Or maybe you have an email newsletter and you want to put it in your newsletter. If you want to throw it on your website, you're welcome to do that. But we've also given you the option, in addition to reposting, to also download it and essentially plagiarize us and throw it on your own social media platforms, because we want this to get as far and wide as possible. So every week or every few days, you can check in and you'll see that these social media posts are going to be different. So you can constantly be resharing our content. So if you scroll down a little further, we have task 3, which is sending letters to the editor. So similar to task 1, you can download the PDF or doc and send a physical letter or a fax. Or you can copy and paste our prepared text and send an email or make a phone call. And we really want to be getting more media involved, once again, to spread the word. So that's task 3. Task 4, if you're up for it, you can attend some local events, campaign stops, or rallies. And we've provided you with a document of talking points that you can use for events, once again, to speak confidently and effectively about all of this. Lastly, at the bottom, we have all of the resources you could need, including some flyers if you're wanting to host an event, or all of the previous documents I mentioned earlier. These are some really nice flyers with all of our branding. Maybe you want to put them up in your store. If you have a store, if you're a practitioner and you have a clinic, you can put them up in your clinic. There's lots of options there, and they're really great. And then just a couple more resources here. We kind of went over them. There's the letter to candidate for you to download, letter to the editor for you to download, and then the talking points for phone calls and events. So I'll close by just saying that we are going to be updating this regularly. As I mentioned, from now until April 28th, we're going to be sharing lots of different content on this page, new letters for you to send, so you're not sending the same letters over and over again, and new social media posts, so we can really continue putting pressure on all the way up until the election date.
I just wanted to jump in to highlight just for people to see, since the list is still being built out. We're at about 3/4 of the candidates are in there, give or take. That if you happen to get no results because we haven't got the database updated yet, you're immediately redirected to the Elections Canada listings, which is the most timely, and they've approved or unapproved every candidate that's applied, and you can do a postal code search here. And you'll be given Prescott Russell, and your candidates will be available there. And you can copy and paste and get back to work on mission 338. Just wanted to show you guys that.
And one more thing I'll throw in just for the inside scoop for all of you guys. You're very familiar with a lot of the electronic letters we've done in the past, and you will come back to the website sometime soon and notice that we have one of those up and running as well for you to participate in.
So if I can even add to that, so what the plan is, except that we actually pay a third party for this infrastructure. So when in the past we've had campaigns and we have an e-letter that, let's say, it goes out to every member of the Standing Committee of Health, like we've done with the C368 campaign. We're actually paying a third party for that infrastructure, and they're not set up to have all of these candidate names. In fact, they weren't even sure if their system would handle that many at once. So that's the only reason we don't have that up yet. So probably, today we'll have up, where we're sending it out to the existing MPs. So right off the bat, you'll be able to communicate to them. But hopefully in the next couple of days, literally every time you come on the site to do this, you'll be able to send an e-letter out to every single person that is running, over 1,000 people in the election campaign, which is pretty cool. So
Don't know if anyone's even ever tried this before in Canadian history, to get the candidates' names and start mailing them before there's even a vote.
no, I don't think so. This is new ground, and that's why we found it so easy. Okay, I couldn't say that with a straight face. We've been really working hard. So yeah, and then Jason had already said, if your candidate information doesn't come up, so like in my riding, when I do my postal code, no candidate information comes up, and I have to go to the Election Canada site, and I see I've got 4. Now we're going to be getting that data in there, so in a couple of days it'll be there, so just be patient. And So, and Dana's already said, each week we're going to be changing the message. So we're planning on running 4 completely different themes week to week up until April 28th, so that the messaging is constantly changing. And so that's important. And so the letters, the emails, the letter to the editor, the social media posts will all change to be in line with the theme. So, yeah, and then also another thing that will change is, we're going to be plugging in volunteers to be doing a whole bunch of data entry because, for example, well, we want to send press releases out to all the media. Well, we need to track down where they are, et cetera, and populate that list. But what's also going to be on this page is, so let's say, you've gone in and you've put in your postal code, and you've sent out, the letter to every candidate, the e-letter, and you've sent from your own email, to your candidates, your email, and hopefully you've printed off the letter and you're sending it to your 4 candidates, because volume matters and paper matters. Like, getting a letter is way more meaningful than getting an email. You've made your telephone calls and you've said, hey, okay, well, that took me 10 minutes at most. I'd like to do more. We're planning on having at the bottom where you could just keep going, where it'll randomly give you other ridings to be plugging into and doing this. Because especially at the beginning, we're not anticipating we're going to have every riding covered. And, again, volume matters, especially with the printed letters. If, we can get you printing out and sending letters to candidates everywhere, or even if you're just emailing them and phoning and the like, it makes a difference. So for people that have, a couple of hours a day, our thing will just randomly spit out. We're hoping to set that up anyway. Hopefully Jason's not looking too nervous here. So the plan is to have it so that you could just spend as much time as you want going through different ridings and doing those communications. And then also never be afraid to personalize it. So even on our, automatic e-letters that our system sends out, you can change our e-line, you can change the text, you can personalize it. It makes a huge difference when you add your own stories, or when you just share how much, how important this is to you personally, or how important it's been for you or your family. Don't be afraid to personalize it. No, obviously, no anger, nothing like that. Nobody listens when that happens. And also, we don't view this as partisan. I mean, our right to decide to take natural products, that's not a party issue in any way. So let's have a positive way of communicating, and let's not get mired down in party politics. And I'm not meaning anything negative. We're in an election, and we don't care if you're involved in other party politics, but just this campaign is, this is just about people wanting to make their own health decisions. And but we really invite you to personalize the communications, because it makes a difference. Like, I always go in and change the reline, because what if they've gotten 200 RE this? Well, I want mine to stick out, and I want them to know they're not just getting things without any thought. So yeah, so it's pretty neat. And don't, the letters to the editor, that those are pretty important, especially if you personalize them. Because during election campaigns, I mean, especially the local papers, I mean, they're looking for local content. They're looking to see what the election issues are. And, if they're getting letters to the editor on this issue that are different, it can really impact, and chances are that many of them will publish, different letters. And it's a way of getting it out there, because there's still part of the population that doesn't understand. And, if you can share our asks for actions, like, we really need people to share this campaign going forward. We want this to be the biggest campaign we've ever run. So if you know any influencers, any podcasters, or you've gotten in with any other groups that, would be willing to, engage their members with this campaign, we'd be really thankful. So yeah, and again, just really grateful to have everyone. Okay, so on that happy note, we'll end the call. Keep in mind what Dana said. So This, like, literally you could do this daily, at least do it every 5 days. Thank you for getting to us on the computation of time thing. So yeah, because it's, but you know, understand the messaging is going to change, and there's several social media posts for the different platforms. So I mean, the idea is you could post one day, one the next day, one the next day, and just make it a continual campaign. And that's not something that's going to be very difficult. Like, we're trying to make it as easy as possible. And then also, like, you know, think of ways to be creative. So, and somehow draw attention to this, because what's really cool is when people just decide, hey, you know, we're just, you know, we're going to hold a tea party downtown, you know, in the park, you know, inform aware or something, and draw attention to the issue, like however you decide to do it. So again, just thank everyone for the call, and on that happy note, we'll let you go.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you all.